I'm Scott. This is a mini mobile modular. Say that 10 times fast. Okay. So, it's a little bit about our company. We are basically equipment manufacturer. So we do a little bit of everything. So I just want to, since my company's paying me to be here, little company plug. It's about me. This is why you're here, who I am. I've been doing streaming since '98. I've been here a long time. Live production on the early companies. When there was 9. Major events in the day, more content than C-SPAN and Discovery, and National Geographic combined on a weekly basis. I helped establish the best practices labs not too far from here, the Raleigh Studios. It's no longer around because 2 partners finally pulled out. Let's see. I'm a former evangelist and subject matter expert for LSI. Basically, I used to build the VC1 accelerators for Microsoft. So the guys who do the first HD, the cool stuff, we build the hardware for there's the software encoders. We have the hardware accelerators. I used to run my own company, River Communications, again webcasting and corporate communications. All right. I have a couple articles on Stream Media Magazine .com. Some is on early version of production. Some are on software versus hardware. Okay. Questions for you guys. What do you guys do? Are any of you guys a single camera shooter? A running gun kind of guys? No? Yeah. That feeling. Okay, webcast engineer. This guy shows up to an event, hook in, and do the events. Okay. You?
I do broadcast Sandbox.
Perfect. Okay. So you're actually the complete service guy. So the guy is a complete production, the Flypack guys. All right. Are you guys sitting in CDNs? Okay. Or are you using your own servers? Are you using Ustream and Livestream and all those guys? Okay. Are you doing push, pull, or adaptive?
Push adaptive.
Okay. Right. Anybody else?
We don't do streaming as well.
Okay.
We use strictly for staff.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Question: hardware versus software. Matter to you which encoders you pick?
No, we mix between the two.
Very good. Same thing? Okay. I know you're using hardware more likely. I know your equipment guys do that XETV. So, waveform monitor vector scopes. I hope you guys are using these. Please say you do. Okay. Yeah, true. Reason why I'll get into it later on is why you should be using them. It's an old trick from the webcasting days, and I hope afterwards you'll love it. How about yourself? Do you production?
Yes.
Okay. You use waveform monitor vector scopes? All right. Do you guys know what proc amps are? Okay, I know you do. Proc amps we'll get into also. It's a cool little trick. If you know what a camera control unit is, a CCU, if you don't have one, use a proc amp. You can cheat and use some tricks. High complexity or high saturation. Please say you do. Okay, well, it's another trick you should always check into because it'll give you extra pop in your video. Cellular, bonded. You guys going up? I know you're not. But actually, okay. Talking heads, sports. Talking heads? Okay. The reason I'm asking this, you'll see as we go through which one's right for you. Okay, let's talk the camera mount encoders. Obviously you know Teradek, they're here at the show. This is a nanocaster or formerly a mini caster. Something of this size, camera mount in the hot shoe. Great little encoder, they all have their positives and negatives, like everything else. So, let's get into it. Okay. All right. Basically, what is a tiny device or a tiny encoder? It's a camera mount encoder. Sits on top is a hot shoe. You can usually take power from the camera and stream out via cellular, or if you have an internet drop, you can go that way. In some cases, you go Wi-Fi. They all have batteries. I haven't seen one that doesn't have a battery yet. I know of one, but no one uses it. Designed for up to high profile ASA 264. You will not find one that does dash. You will not find one that does MPEG-2. It's not the right fit for it. Well, I guess that's not true. I guess Newcom has one. for some of the microwave stuff. But that's a little bit bigger, and that's usually in the back. They can be very low latency, which for different applications is great, because it depends on the DSP inside. All of these are hardware encoders. You will not find one that is a pure software at all. They are designed for RTMP, TCP, and UDP. Again, you will not find one that does dash yet, or HLS. I have not seen one in the market. I know some are working on it, but it's the way the chips talk with the codec and the delivery. Okay. They're all designed for push more than pull, so it's a little bit easier to go. It makes sense. You're going to a CDN, so it's a good way to go. Oh, if you have questions, please just ask. I'm kind of interactive. I like to get you guys involved, and I'm not a professional person or speaker.
And these slides are going to be on.
Correct. Yeah, I have my business card here. I can always email them to you also.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. Pros. What is cool about this thing? It's tiny as hell. It has some presettings for outputs and CDNs. Again, they're designed for cellular or bonded cellular operations. But is that really a positive or negative? We'll get into it in a second. They're great to work for DSLRs and up to our broadcast cameras. Hot shoe mount, and this is a camera guy with a running gun. You hook in your camera, put your cellular knock in there, and you can text instantly. Some of the cons of them, though. Limited number of profiles. You can only do so much in a DSP. So you have to figure, if you do one main profile and stream it out, it's a great way to go. Then you can always do cloud transcode it. Some of these need a remote server. Every time you make a change, it connects to the server, then it goes back, then it works perfectly. That's actually the cellular advantage is on some of these, is that you use the cellular to connect to the server to make update changes, but you're streaming out, cellular isn't really designed for web. Web going up, down's perfect. Okay, let's see, the DSP, I saw a little error on this one, whoops. The codec one problem with the codec was hardware versus software. The codec on a chip is usually 6 months to 3 years old. So this is how long it takes to make a chip. So you're not going to have the latest codec versus a software encoder. But it may not matter. If you do normal UDP and RTMP, that may be fine for the advantages. Okay. All right. So, don't think I'm knocking these at all, first of all. These are great for what they are. They're made for the run and gun. They hook them by your camera, and they're compact, and you can send any camera guy out there, you preset them, all the presets, and you can connect with a CDN or delivery instantly. So, okay. I wish I was trying to get, hopefully High Vision was here and a couple others. There's a lot of companies who make these type of encoders, same as the stuff. I have my picture on here because I make it, it's easy for me to get, but I'm not endorsing or saying anyone's worse than any other. Okay, well you can also see a workflow here, camera in, video production switcher up to the cloud or up to a CDN, you can deliver out, simple. And it is a shameless plug. All right, these are made for the webcast engineer. Some guy just wants to hop on a plane, fly to an event, talk to the production crew, plug in, ready to go. They're compact. Most of these out there are actually software encoders. They're software appliances. That way they can do feature upgrades and have tighter codecs and all the compressions. Again, designed for high profile ASA 264 out there. You can have a battery option or remote power on all these. Usually people just plug them in and ready to go. But I know a lot of them you can put on the Anton Bauer packs or your IDX and you're all good and go. All of these have touchscreen. I haven't seen one that doesn't have a touchscreen that you can do controls. They do not have a bandwidth limitation. Some of the smaller ones have a limitation up to about 6 meg. Again, that's fine for a camera. Designed for push and pull or adaptive. So when you do a little bit of everything, that's your route to go. Some guys, I wouldn't recommend having 100 people do an HLS off this device. You'll kill it. But you can do HLS or a pull technology so people can watch and they can connect. So you can serve for most of these. always a quick start and reliable. Plus, usually since these are more a full functional encoder, you will have the advanced encoding settings versus just templated presets on some of the small ones. All of them should have, even the small countermeasure ones, will have advanced settings on the servers, but this will have it on the device itself. Okay. Again, the Pro, it's a compact, portable unit, and it's software based. Quick setup. It can do basically any format. Like I said, soon dash. You can set your presets. You can always have preset settings, or you can just change stuff on the fly. What's nice about these, both of these small ones, you can bring them on a plane with you. You know, you just hop on a plane, put it in the overhead, it's there with you. You don't have to worry about stuff missing. Okay, con, they're expensive. I've seen some of these high as $19,000 or more. Some of these are around $5,000. So it depends what you want on it. The form factor, some guys just don't like this look. They don't like the style. It's too big, too bulky. They want that. And so that's one of the cons of it. Not everyone's going to be happy with the appearance.
How much is the,
Nanocaster, or the small one?
yellow?
This one, or this one? This one is about $5,500, $6,000. But I have seen them as high as 19,000, some companies. I've seen other companies around like 4,500, 3K. It all depends on the input you want. So there's a different range for everybody. You know, and some may not just have the functionality that you want, because maybe you want more streams out of it and more other elements. Okay. I'm a production guy. I come from being a TD producer and director. I love Flypacks. You know, I design these too. But this, I'm also a certified broadcast engineer. I worked in TV stuff, done satellite uplink. I come from the old school guys. I like modular. So as you can see on here, I actually have an encoder, player, switcher, and the monitor's okay, it's Blackmagic. But this is kind of a mock-up. So you can have many monitors you want. These can be from 3RU to 20RU, they can go long. It all depends on how you want to lay it out. But this size here, you can easily bring on a plane. Just bring it in, check it as luggage, and you fly with all your equipment. Don't have to worry about shipping it. Okay. But you know, multiple cameras in, bring right in. You can have a playout server, which you can have your full production suite and a compact unit. Okay. Yeah. Some of our staff's animals and San Diego. But like in the bottom one, your encoder, you have a playout server, and that's a good little switcher right here. It's not cheap, but TV1 works for broadcasters. They understand what a seamless switcher is. They make sure that their base is set and everything else is a payload on top of it. So when they switch, you're not having dropout. There are switchers out there that every time you switch, you have a spike up and down, and you can get glitches. They're mostly more the matrix switchers, but there are some others out there that they're so-called production switchers, but they're not designed for production. And I don't want to say who it is, but yeah, there are some out there. All right. Nice about a Flypack, it's a custom-built solution for you, to whatever your needs are. So you start off with a case, boom, or you figure out what components you want to have. These can be any size, small as luggage to the size of a car. Any budget. We're showing one at the booth for 9K, actually a little less than that. But I have great ones at 45K. I have seen awesome ones that are longer than this table, over 100K. But they have all the features you want. I've seen some that rival master controllers and TV stations. They're that impressive, and they're mobile. Again, if they're done right, they're modular based. So you can always future-proof. So one piece of equipment goes out of date, you pull it, put a new one in to replace it. All of a sudden, you're up to date, and here you go. Well, I would say it's always custom built to meet your requirements. You don't have to buy a cookie cutter device. Okay, the basics: video monitors, mixers, switchers, and audio mixers. I come from because we always had to do a guerrilla crew. Small man crews, flying out there, So I have to keep it for one person can do everything. You can always add a video encoder, a playout server, slow motion, waveform monitor vector scope, and if you need CG, you can do that. I actually would believe, personally, waveform monitor vector scopes for me are always my basics. I need to have those, and I'll explain why more. Then you can always have a distribution server. This is your Wowzas, your Helix servers from Real and Adobe, or maybe your own. Power conditioners are musts for me, and a network switch, and I love failover servers. So that when something happens, it can always go through. So you always have connectivity. Oops, I didn't do some crappy graphics I did on. Okay, so some various components of a Flypack. You can see different sizes. I can go that one there, different RUs. You can see this one here is a good size one. There's different levels. You can double stack. You actually, because some versions, you have tables on the side, so you can switch on it. Audio monitors, mixers, switchers, playout servers, and a failover. These are just some components in there. Also, a multiple variety of cameras. Okay. The pros can be any size you want. So you can do ISOs, you can do camera feeds, pool feeds. So you can actually do the main feed, and you can give your feeds to others. You can be the pool feed, the way this is set up. Of course, designed for multi-camera production. You pick any encoder you want. You don't have to pick one brand. You may like some different, every component is custom spec to you. So something you may be used to working with. Maybe you like Mackie mixers. Well, here you go. You have a Mackie mixer now in your Flypack. You can be, like this brand encoder that can be in there. Okay. Cons, they're not small. They're not huge, but they're not small. This is not going to fit on top of your camera. The cost is a lot. The cost is a lot more expensive than these two devices. It's usually more complex than the basics because you have a lot more to deal with. So you get to know your equipment well. And it does require more crew if you want to fully staff it. Yes, you could do remote cameras, but if you really want to do it right, for the production company, you need more people. Then these events, you just show up and you're ready to go. So there's always a trade and effect. Okay. Now I said I was at my way for, because here's where I get into why you want to use some of this gear. And actually I would use some of this gear with this unit and with that unit too. Waveform monitors, vector scopes. I love these things for productions. What these tell you where your whites and blacks are. They tell you your color spectrum. So if you don't white balance right, your whites are off. You don't black balance, which hardly anybody does anymore, your blacks are going to be off. They're gray. If they're off, everything's out of whack. Well, how do you know unless you see them? Good thing about it is you can get monitors now with built-in waveform monitors and vector scopes. Blackmagic has them. Bond, TV Logic, whoever you want. You can have a monitor, your preview program can have built-in waveform monitor and vector scopes. So you know where you're at. Because maybe the light changes on a shot and now that shot's no good because light has changed. You'll know it looking at the scopes on each screen. So these are actually great tools to have to keep your images looking pristine. Like I said, always white balance, always black balance. Most people don't black balance. And what does this have to do with this topic? Again, it ties into it's going to make all these look better. A black balance will set your blacks right. If your blacks are higher than 0 digital or 7.5 IRE, you're going to start crushing your color spectrum. If you're too low, you'll go in your audio. If your whites are blooming past 100 IRE, everything's going to be oversaturated. It's going to look weird. You could just, you're going to have the angel effect. Everyone's glowing. So you want to be under that. Let's talk about the color range, the IREs we want to be. So you basically want to have this good quality image. So, mention proc apps. Why are they important? Say I don't have the best camera. I can't afford one that has a CCU and every control. You can get some good ones that you can camera control units. Actually, some switchers now have it. A camera control unit will adjust all the color spectrum inside the camera. It controls a chip. Not everybody can afford them because they just get very, very expensive. Versus lower small cameras versus going at a broadcast level with this use. This is the poor man's version. This, you can control your luminance. You can control your contrast and your saturation. So you can do different adjustments. You can make the colors look good. This should be in most Flypacks. That way, any feed you have coming in, you can tweak it for what your needs need to be. So if you have that with this, you can get a house feed that may be somewhat garbage, you can adjust it. So this can be used with anything. It can be used a small one, medium, or the large. That and a waveform monitor, that way you'll always know. You have your scopes on, you can see where you're at, and make the adjustments. These aren't that expensive. Okay. Now, early days of webcasting, when we started streaming, everything we had was CRT. So we kind of got things in, and you got your warm and fuzzy, but it didn't look right because we were streaming and did delivery. Everything you're going to was a computer monitor. Anything else? They were LCD or something else. Some CRT. If you add more contrast, you'll get more colors out of it. It gets a little extra pop because it's more rich. And my whole thing is make sure it's rich. So I would have, this is the point why you want the waveform monitor vector scope again, is because it gets the colors. Okay, more and more. Then it gets how do you want to deliver. So the biggest thing is, I don't need to go through all these, but why are you going to CDN if you can do it yourself? Again, in some cases in a Flypack, you can actually put in a distribution server. If you have the bandwidth, you can deliver yourself. So you can always deliver to a CDN, you can deliver to yourself. It's on the overall workflow. And the kind of idea is, what is the best fit to go? These you definitely want to send to a CDN. This is the way they're designed, and you got to do cloud transcoding. This also, you can sometimes have a server next to it or in it that you can do delivery. In a Flypack, you can easily put in a server that you can handle 500 to 1,000 viewers or more, depends on the size of the server. That may be fine for a lot of your needs. When a Flypack, I talk about this is a very, very key tip. All encoders you should have redundant streaming or have a failover server. That if one drops out, one stream drops out, you have a backup. All CDNs will give you a backup stream. Come in. So if it fails, they'll flip over to it. The only thing it costs you a second ISP, internet connection, or a second more bandwidth. But again, if you're doing a major event, you might want to have it. Okay. And one thing is, I love this trick. I don't know if you guys are doing this before. I don't know if you're familiar with DDNS, or dynamic forwarding. This, if you go to an event like a hotel, and you need to have a static IP, you don't always get it. You might get dynamic, and it's not public. DDNS, you can have a DHCP come in, and you can treat it as static, and you're ready to go. So I kind of like to set up all encoders to that way. Almost all of them can have that feature built on there. So it's one thing from the small to the medium to the Flypack, which way to go. Okay. So basically, we'll go back to the other ideas. Let me go back. So like I mentioned on the Flypacks, you can add, the waveform monitors inside here. Let me see. Where's that? Like this one here has them in right there on the monitors, and he has them there. He has playout servers, audio mixer, your camera control units. So you can see the different size levels. You can do a very simple case. You can do the larger and smaller. You get that one. This is not a very big case. It's only a 6RU. That's a 6RU. So that's this big. They can be a little heavy. That's about 40 pounds with all this stuff inside. Versus 6 pounds and maybe a pound. So do you have any questions? Yeah.
A lot of Flypacks you can do shock mount.
Correct.
Any particular system better versus just being rack mounted and then sometimes
Correct. The only problem with shock mount and on the cases, they add a lot to the price. So not everybody can afford it. So I usually just do a rack mount rolling case that will have some support in there, but yeah, if you can afford it, you definitely get the shock mount. But one problem, it does add weight. So when you do different things, it's going to add some considerable weight. But again, if you have a $100,000 fly pack, you better get a shock mount. It's the best way to go. You know.
Just try to take it in terms of travels, if you're always trusting the bag chamber to load it nice.
Correct.
Stay fragile all the way around, you still are just
Yes, I've had that problem. And we used to use, I used to use this one here. This kit, it's a great case, it's by Pelican. It's just a heartache. These are really great. These are all shock mounted inside. So we were flying one time to an event and we're on the plane and we see the bag attender come up there and we see that something happened and you see they're moving stuff around and they're rolling our equipment down the ramp. It's only about $300,000 worth of equipment right there. Yeah, we wanted to kill the guy. We got back to, we had to fly to Boston, we got to Boston, and we only had one fuse that was broken. So we had to replace a fuse and we're up in Golden. I mean, that's why I love being modular on these kits, is if you do it right, and the right spec, you can, worst case scenario, you have a fuse to replace, or if some cases you don't have a fuse anymore. You know, those are some of the monitors we had. But yeah, that's the whole idea is, these are made to be drop, forklift, and everything you need. So you can have, even have, a lot of these have little doors on here, and we used to have toolkits in the doors. So we have extra parts in there. So when you leave your operations and you go out to the event, you would have everything with you. It's like, I know you need that. When your truck pulls up, you have everything you need.
Oh, you're definitely taking packs cross country or
Yeah.
different countries.
Because you never know when you pull in, you know, where's the electronics shop? Do they have what I need? You know, there's not enough fries everywhere, and we need more than fries, let's be honest. So, you know, anybody else? So what type of things do you guys shoot? What kind of videos? What are your,
Standard definition webcasting at this point, looking to see what's out there, where it would cost money, that's gonna give me, you know, how much I'm gonna have to spend over the course of time, what I'm gonna get back from it.
yeah. Well, I actually met some guys here. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, got some. Like New Tech, they have a great little device. They're not exactly cheap, but they're not bad. They have some great stuff. I know I have some friends who run a roller derby in San Diego. And that's the LA Derby dolls up here. They love New Tech. It works for them. They can record and all the features and it's ready to go. It's self-contained. There was a guy wearing the pink shirts in the exhibit hall, Paladin. They have a really tiny unit for $5,000 that you can actually control, switch through your iPad. It's all great. I mean, well, it depends. For the price point, it's perfect. Well, not perfect, you know what I mean.
Kind of like the more mechanical nature that they're, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're everything is one thing to have an iPad, but sometimes maybe the thrust of your finger didn't quite get that transition, so you have to press it again, and all of a sudden you realize there's a latency and it's double back on you. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to happen.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that before. Correct. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's not the right fit. That's not everybody. For some guys who have a $5,000 budget, what they need is perfect fit. Some guys just love the New Tech name. They go that route. Some guys want the modular approach, that if something fails, I can replace it. I'm not down. There's always some component you might want to have ready to go. You might, in some cases, might bring an extra encoder. That way, if the switcher goes down, no matter what, or something happens, I can always keep streaming. Or if I'm recording and my encoder craps out, I can at least keep recording. I can get it up there. Something I can still do the full event. The worst thing for us is losing an event. I mean, you can't bill, so you cover all the travel, you cover everything because of some piece of equipment that dies on you. As long as you can get the event to the customer, you can get paid. We're not doing it for webcasting for free. We want to get paid. Yeah.
What do you see in terms of ISO reports if you're at a camera sheet and you're switching between one ISO report all cameras as well as the switch speed? Are you looking at hardware-based recorders or software-based?
It all depends on how you want to do it. I mean, that's the whole thing. A Flypack, you can put in, you know, Blackmagic has those little SSD drive things. You take each one, put your ISO feeds right in there first. You can record separately, or you can do the whole master, or you can record on the camera. I used to do both. I used to record on camera, then I would have tape decks, and and do both sides. That I would have the camera feed and I would have that, then I would just have a switched feed, always recorded. Then I was always streaming the switch feed. But I can always take that and take that ISO and stream it out if something happens. Take my primary, set up your primary shot. So worst case something happens, you can always go back to your your primary camera. How about you guys? Any questions? So now you understand why I was talking about waveform monitors and vector scopes. It's not wanting to have something in there. There's a purpose of having that equipment in a Flypack, or even having with any encoder. It is to help you if you do adjustments. You could. Yeah.
On that topic, we talk about hardware scopes.
Yeah.
Versus software scopes.
Scopes or.
Well, if you've got your Tektronix waveform,
Yeah.
plug it in versus a
Blackmagic. Yeah.
software.
Correct.
Obviously, there's a huge cost difference with hardware versus software. But what I'm trying to do, is it good enough?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's as long as you have something there. It's a tool. Yeah. You can. Are there different qualities of tools, different price? Yes. But at least you have the tool and you get the basic idea. The whole thing. You can always upgrade to different things. But just having the tool there and be able to use it somewhat, it's better than not having it at all. Even if it's not the best tool, because this is enough to know, hey, my colors are off a little bit, what's going on, you can make your adjustments. And again, that can feed this a much cleaner image. You can actually tweak different things, get that extra pop you need. Otherwise, if you don't set it right, your image is going to be flat. And you're streaming flat video, it's the idea, it's okay, we're streaming for the web. Don't stream for the web. Stream for cinema. Stream for everything. That you can use a web as your delivery. It's a future broadcast. So why not take the broadcast approach? We do the best we can. We do the best thing out there, and this is our delivery mechanism. I don't have a tower out there. I have the internet. So I have the potential of a lot more viewers. But there's a lot of people out there, oh, it's okay. It doesn't have to look great, only for the web. Why? Why not shoot better than those guys that have a limited viewership when you have unlimited? I mean, who in the world, there's some people in the world who don't have internet. But can they see an online video sometime? Yes. Well, if you don't live in the area of the local TV station, if you don't live in LA, you live in San Diego, I'm not seeing what's going on in LA TV ever, unless I'm here. But if I'm watching the web, even if it's live, it's going to be archived someplace. I'll see it sooner or later. There's always a chance for greater viewership. So the whole idea is make it the best as possible. Now, if I were to use this with a camera and use the camera to feed my Flypack, it's a great way to go. I can go wireless to my Flypack and I can do great streaming. Or I can go to my truck. So I can go different routes. So I can put a small encoder on a camera, send it to my truck, I can do the tweaks, then send it out for a global distribution. Yeah, instead of microwave, you could go cellular, or if you have a Cat5 or go wireless, there's different ways to go. So I don't need to park in the expensive area. I can find the little bit farther away and get it to my truck. I can get emergency drop of internet pretty quick. Or if I want to go real long Wi-Fi, I can go WiMAX. You can get portable WiMAX converters and go that route. So it's always what you need. So, any other question? Okay. So what are your guys' thoughts? What do you guys recommend? What do you guys like? What seems more fitting to each of you?
I'm looking for portability. As I just got my high-def camera, so I'm just kind of starting out with what gets involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do mostly on site.
Okay.
Streaming over through 3G or 4G. But with that, I bump into more people, and I think, well, can you come here and do this in our office or something? So now I'm finding that there's some additional equipment that I'll need. I'm expanding.
Yeah. So you have HD. What type? You say 4K or just HD?
I've got a Sony prosumer.
Okay.
With HDR CF760. So just before it gets into the Pro line. So it's a smaller footprint.
Yeah.
It's got all the nice bells and whistles to it. So
Okay, so in that case, you do that type of camera. Any encoder you find out there right now will be able to do that. Just don't go analog. If you go HDMI or HD-SDI, you'll be fine. Only thing, even if you go RGB, you can get 1080p out of it. If you're going to standard composite, only standard F.
No, I think, the only output that it's got, I can read it below it, but it's got HDMI on it.
Okay.
Mini HD.
Yeah, that's fine. That's any encoder out there you can find. Now, it all depends, but even I tell people when you buy an encoder, get the right one for you. Even these ones here, make sure they have the right inputs. I have guys who are doing satellite inputs on these things. So they went downlinks and doing encoding, ASI in. So even like this brand here, obviously going to cost more if you can get HD-SDI. But HDMI, I can get the Teradex. I think they have them for $700, so pretty inexpensive. Then there's a Livestream. They have their service. There's some other ones out there. So you can find inexpensive encoders that do a pretty good job on that aspect. But again, they're limited for what they do. They do a great job, but they don't give you as many streams as you need. Well, it depends. You may want to be able to send one stream up to a Ustream or somebody. They'll transcode it for you and give you multiple profiles. They're great for one single profile, maybe two. Then you send that up to the Ustream and so on, and they can do it. This you can do multiple profiles. All these multiple, because it's what they're designed for.
Depends upon the industry and who you're going to serve.
Correct.
You're going to want a wider platform to work with to require more customers.
Yeah.
And everything. So, it's kind of a growing stage. Some of the
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I can put any, like all these, you can put any board in. This is a Blackmagic board. You can put in the HA, you can put whoever you want, put in, whatever your needs are.
What's the battery power on it?
This one actually is hooked up for 4-pin XLR, so I can buy a battery belt pack. Versus a big brick on there. That's what we designed, is that way you give another option. We figured, everybody has Anton-Bauer batteries or whoever. So more likely, if you don't have a belt pack, you already have the batteries, just buy the belt pack and you're ready to go. And that'll give you days worth of power. This is the way we designed it. And I know High Vision has theirs, it's different, similar. They can put a brick on. Some Digital Rapids, their touchscreen, you can also put a brick on there also. Now, one problem with a Flypack, you're not putting batteries on it. No, Flypack, yeah, they're just too big. Because you have how many components? And most things in there don't draw light power. They're going to draw significant power. It's like, there you go. Exactly.
But then you have a problem getting off.
Yeah, the security.
Because my concern is if you're switching live hardware switch versus software switch, if you're software, you're locking up going down.
Correct.
As long as you have hardware components that at least you can continue to feed through while I'm rebooting.
Yes, we actually had that. The unit we had here at the show, we have a hardware software switcher that we were going wirelessly, and every time the wireless dropped out, and we lost switcher for control for a few minutes. Then it came back in. Yes, this one here, that is a full hardware switcher. Actually, the design is also a built-in scan converter. I really like that route, so that way I can bring in computers, and it's all in the payload. So when I switch and change resolutions, it's going out the constant whenever I want. This one also has a big breakout panel, so I can do a full T-bar switch and all the features. I love that. That's where, this is fun to me. You have a big T-bar on there. Where you go? TV1, analog way. They all have it. Sony has them. I'm trying to think of all the guys who have this. But again, what I love about these things is you can put anything in here. You can see different monitors on here. You're going to have the two previews in a program. You can do multiples. So you can put in like a Mushroom Networks or some bonding agent, so you can always double check and you go out wirelessly and everything else. Okay, make sure we have enough time. But the good thing is that's the whole thing, is what size do you want? This can work fine with that unit, but so can this. So I can have a rolling case, do a complete production. Then also have my webcast engineer do the other side. When I was doing the bigger cases, I would have my TD and my audio guy. My audio guy is also my webcast engineer. I'll try to separate. Well, the whole plan of this one here, one guy can do everything. Not sports. You have to do a lot of good stuff going on. You want your TDs to focus on the camera. If you're doing talking heads, one guy can do most things. Even if the encoders go down, you have your backups, he can usually troubleshoot and still switch. Sometimes you just have to do it. It all depends on the size of the crew. Like I said, I used to do guerrilla crews, so I'd have a 5-person crew go out in the field. 4 cameras and webcast and the tech. Some guys are even more. It all depends. You can do intercom systems, you can go wireless intercoms. The thing is, if you're going to do any of these, you want to make sure they're right. You do everything right. Because why would you spend all this money, like buy this unit here, all of a sudden your colors aren't right? You have a $100,000 Flypack and no waveform monitor, you know what your colors are. Or you're not getting enough contrast out. You're not controlling your cameras correctly. So it all depends on what you want to put in there. You just don't buy a lot of equipment and not use it. So you got to find what equipment to use. So you can mix and match. Like I said, you can use this, have this feed on the camera feeds, see the cable runs, feeding the Flypack. So yeah, but I agree with you. I like hardware encoders or hardware switchers versus software. The chances of a hardware switcher to die on me is a lot less than a hiccup in an OS and causes the encoder, the other switcher to crap out. Yeah. I mean, I just come from that school where modular is good. Now, there are guys who do have the Flypack in one box. That's great, and that's what you want to do. Everything's there. You can have the different feeds. You can switch and encode. Where I come from, I'd rather have it modular, so that way my encoder does die on me, I'm not totally dead. If my switcher dies on me, I can replace it, or I can bypass it. I have seen a system where there's a hiccup in the OS, it killed the encoder, which in turn kills the switcher. So what do you have? You got to reboot the whole thing, and your talent up there has no idea what's going on. So then they come back and they look at the video. Why is there this big black space in there? Or why is this short? We had a great topic there. Or you're doing this ball game, or or like I said, I do some work with the roller derby. You miss a great jam, you miss something happen. It's, how do you explain it? You got to keep it going. And I've been lucky. I've never lost a show. I did a lot of shows, and I still doing shows now and then. Never lost one. It's that modular approach. Yeah, people are going now. I can go buy everything in one box, but do I want to take the chance of that one box dying and stuff? It's like, even if I'm in the field, I might have a couple of these, just in case something happens. But also, what if the cellular I have on here, I don't know if anybody has AT&T here? How's your phone working? What if that was your carrier?
Right. Carry around 3 different dongles, not knowing where you're going to be. Say it's Verizon, today's,
Yeah. Well, okay, the other thing is, what if you even have a bonding unit? Do you have one company, or do you have multiples? Why send everything through one carrier? We used to have multiples anyway, so that way they can bounce off and they get there. But then you also need a bonding service. It's just easier to call up Cox or Time Warner, just give me a drop, or have a microwave set up, or Viasat has a great little portable system, a satellite. Won't work in New York City for most cases, if you ever try to shoot out satellite down there. But in most cases, you have a small little portable unit, satellite, that you can hook up to an encoder. You don't need, to spend do you? Yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to drive, from here to Boston. You can have the little Viasat system, jump on a plane with an encoder, fly out there and stream. Viasat? Yeah, they're in Carlsbad. Yeah, that's basically, you can buy the exact same stuff, they sell it to the sales team. They have some great stuff. So that's always the thing. You can use an encoder and you go that route.
Actually, been a $100,000 system.
Actually,
20 grand for the additional.
yeah, well, they have. Sorry. So that little unit, I think it's like 15 grand, and then Okay, plus the monthly fee.
And then it's, I think there's a huge wait for it right now.
Oh yeah, there is. We try to get one. Yeah, they're fun. They're cool though. I have checked them out. They are very cool. So that's always the things. So any questions?
You don't have to worry about nothing.
Exactly. And especially if you're in the States, you have the FCC requirements. You buy somebody off country and you bring it in here, yeah,
You have no time, you have to worry about saying you're on off the bird.
yeah,
You're not being charged every second.
correct.
You're done, you're done.
Yeah. No, that's the whole thing is you want to be able to go anywhere and have that connectivity. So if it's getting a drop, or you might have great cellular, you might have 3G or 4Gs or LTE, 5 connections. You can go out there, you can get your 5.5 megs. People forget the spec of 4G is 1.5 megs. That does not mean you're going to get it. That doesn't mean you have priority. Unless you have the FBI or government badge, or military or police, you're not getting priority cellular. So you're going to get down. So if you want your video, if you're doing 1080p and you want to be at 5 megs, and you're actually getting them, and you can bond up to 4, yeah, in theory you can get what you need. In practicality, you're going to come in short. You're probably going to get 3 meg or 4 meg. So you're going to kind of drop it down, and that's the case. So that means you get 1 stream versus multiple streams. That may be okay. It all depends. So I think we got to wrap it up. Any other questions? Cool. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, and if you have any questions, my information's on here, and they'll be on the website. I saw the website, they have the LinkedIn thing, so you want to go that way. So you can connect with me and I'll ask any questions. I'll be happy to answer, and I can send you contacts and different examples and everything else.
So what do you call it, disruptive?
That's our company tagline. Basically, our company approach is a little bit different than others. So we're always trying to be cutting edge and for lower cost. We don't see a need where you need to spend $100,000 on a simple encoder when you can do the exact same job for $20,000, or you can get in a good encoder at $4,000 versus paying $10,000. It's doing the same job. Why pay the expensive money? So that's our approach. We're trying to disrupt the industry by coming in low. Yeah, I like those guys though. They're all friends of mine. So, and they're great stuff.
They're a good company, it's just, they're the avid of encoders.
Yeah, that's true. But again, Avid, still a hell of an encoder. It's still a hell of a video editor. So I mean, that's the whole thing is they have a great product. But I look at DVEO, they're twice the price of Digital Rapids. And what do you get? I mean, not knocking anybody, they all have great stuff. So it all depends on what whatever you need, you can get. Very cool. All right, thanks a lot.